So as you can see, I have pretty much taken the car completely apart. I'm going to go ahead and take the last strap off, clean the chassis a little bit, and then it's time to start working on the front end, which I'll show you came off nice and easy with the steering linkage and the center support. Okay, so chassis is cleaned off, top and bottom, aluminum parts over here cleaned off. That's the massive motor and the motor mount. You know, one nice thing about getting rid of the brake assembly and this cover right here, as if you're actually going to stick your finger in between the pinion gear and the spur. I wonder what would happen. You know, no, you're not going to do that. Oh, wait a minute. We're a country of over 350 million people. There's got to be at least, you know, less than half of them are men. Bringing down the odds, so that's over, over 160, 170 million men. There's got to be a couple of them would stick their finger in there. I mean, the odds and all. Okay, so one of the things I got to improve this when I was getting the diff to do the repairs is this. And it is part number 1500184057, and it is a ZD Racing product. It is the parts you see here in black. It replaces those with anodized aluminum. That is our servo saver and our steering brace over here and rack. And believe it or not, this little arm here and this little arm here, these anemic little pieces of plastic control our steering, and they are surprisingly flexible. Put your car down and fiddle with it a little bit, put some torque into it with the wheels pressed to the ground so they can't move, and you'll see how much movement you can get out of this arm and this arm. It's really surprising, and that's translates to slop in your steering. So this is a very worthwhile upgrade, and it's incredibly inexpensive. I think it was $14 at most. It might have been 12. Anyway, I do recommend it, and it comes with ball bearings. There's probably bearings in here, but these may be a different size. I don't know, but there's fresh bearings. So, you got everything to gain by swapping that out. And I will show you that process. Let me just get the chassis aside for the moment. And let me go ahead and take off these arms. Get those out of my way. They are very hard to take off when they're on the car. You need to put them onto your steering assembly when you're putting the car together. There are a lot of things you can adjust on this car. Unfortunately, a lot of them are hard to do or get to without major disassembly. Go ahead and put some oil in these bearings. It's definitely drinking it up. Makes me wonder if there's any grease in there. See what's on the back, okay? Now we've got a big ring here and a little one here, so these push out. Be gentle, left, right, left, right. Just kind of tap them from either side, nudge them, and they come out without any abuse. The other one just fell out nice and easy. Sorry, dying of thirst. Figured I'd get that about halfway down, make it really solid. I really don't even want a saver on there. Okay. Those are fine. The oil goes right through, so I don't think there's anything in there. Whoa. Okay, so looks like there's no way around having to use these little brass bushings. So the best thing to do is make them so they work as smoothly as possible. And the first thing we do is clean them well, and the next thing we do is lubricate them well. And yes, it's going to be black grease again. Oil will just be too thin, it's just going to run right out. Make sure it is worked in well. Get the excess outside stuff off. Okay, now that's vertical. So it's got to be like that. This is going to need a little Loctite. Okay. Something else I'm going to do while I'm here is I am going to flip that piece of hardware around so that, well, no, can't really do that. Oh, maybe I can. I think I can. I don't think that bottom piece is threaded, the eyelet, that is. Okay, that was a whole lot of nothing talk. This is going to be very hard to change when it's on the chassis. How do you get a wrench up under this? Now, depending on where it is on the chassis, yeah, we can get a screwdriver under there. I thought it was further back on the wider side of the chassis, so I'm just going to leave it where it is. Okay. So now I need to get those inner parts out. See, this is what we need. You know what? These might actually be better bearings. Well, yeah, because they are a rubber seal as opposed to a metal seal. They collect less dust. If they are the same size, I may trade them out. And I could have used this nice shiny red anodized cap over here, but meh. I think I'll just keep these other bearings. They should be fine. yes, that could use Loctite, but I'm going to wait until I'm further along the assembly process, because the best way to get either of these screws tight, since there's not a flattened off area or anywhere you can grab it, is to have 2.5 millimeter wrenches, one from either side, and tighten it that way. One below the chassis and one on top of the steering here. So for right now, I'm just going to put this in and tighten it down so that I don't have to worry about it falling off or the bearings falling out. So everything moves nice and smooth. That's great. These I can save. And I think it's time for a parts box. In case you have not seen any of my other videos previous, this is the kind of box that I use for spare parts for every car. Every kit that I have has one of these boxes. They're inexpensive, $24 for 4, so $6 a pop, more or less. If you have Amazon Prime, you're not even paying for the shipping. Usually most cars come with a sticker pack, sticker sheet. And for example, the car I'm building right now, I'll pull off one of the big stickers to lay up on the front for the, it's an SCT 410 SL. I'll put one down the side on either side, so regardless of which way it is on the shelf, I know what I'm looking at. So when I'm prepping to go to the racetrack on a Friday night or Saturday night, depending on when racing is, I just go over to the shelf here and grab the box for each of the cars, and also a lot of them, I'll have a separate box that's all springs for that particular car. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to pull one of those out. And since, at least for the moment, I'm not going to use the brakes, I've made that decision, I'll go ahead and throw in all of those spare parts. That way, I know where they are. So now I need to set the chassis aside again, because it's going to be time for diff building. This is the final diff to build. That is the front diff. I'll start by disconnecting the sway bar. Well, as long as I've got it in, I'll do these. That's weird. It's like this car has some really mismatched hardware. There'll be stuff that looks like it should be 2.5 and it's a 2. And then there'll be some other stuff that looks like it should be a 2 and it's a 2.5. That was a 2.5. What did I have in there? 3? Must have had a 3. See. Okay, there's no changes that can be made from up here. And there's our diff. Not nearly the amount of lube that there was on the other, at the rear end. But there's a decent amount. There's enough, so it wasn't like starved or anything. Okay. Got a couple of shims. Now, one thing to note about the cars, this hardware is not the highest quality. Fortunately, the hex heads err on the side of a little tight versus a little loose, so they're not likely to strip unless you're not seating the hex wrench completely. Sometimes it really gets stuck, so it'll get like part way and stop. Make sure you push it in all the way. And I have been using this power driver a lot because this is disassembly, so I'm fine using power drivers for disassembly, even on reassembly, but not on new kits where you're doing the build. And even then, if you noticed, I loosened the bolts a little bit by hand first. Mainly, I just used this power driver to save my wrist. See what I mean about seating and them being tight? It's not like there was any dirt on them either. And these are high quality hex wrenches. Look at that. There's nothing in there. That should be full to the top of the gear with fluid, and there's nothing in there, and it didn't leak out. There's nothing in the case. So someone did not fill this. They just put in a little bit of lube. Okay, the fun part's going to be getting that gear out. I'm going to pause out.